Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Don Cody, your host. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to a woman by the name of Janelle Bledsoe. When I found out what Janelle did, I thought I really have to have her on the show so all my seniors can hear what she does and how she can help them. She's the founder of GA Marketing. It's a digital marketing and systems strategy firm. She'll explain what that means. She's really passionate about empowering coaches and authors and speakers to be able to simplify their tech so they can do more of what they do best. And she's particularly passionate about helping senior women to do that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Janelle Bledsoe. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm Don Cody, your host, and I am here with Janelle Bledsoe. Janelle and I just met recently, and I was fascinated at the kind of work that she does, and I'm going to have her tell you all about it. Welcome, Janelle.
Thanks for having me, Don. It's an experience that I will definitely treasure because you are my first podcast interview. Here I am.
Listen, you're all witness to Janelle's inaugural podcast. It's going to be great. Yep. It's going to be great. So I tell everybody, even seasoned people, I had a lady on the other day that had 300 podcasts under her belt. You know, some people get nervous and some people don't, whether it's their first or their last, it doesn't really matter. I know Carly Simon, who I was a big fan of, used to say, even after she was like way successful, she used to almost want to throw up every time when she went on stage. So don't worry, it's going to be fine. Just a couple of folks talking about stuff that matters.
Sounds good.
So here's what I'm going to do. Janelle, I'm going to have you tell everybody about what you're doing these days. And I know it's going to be fascinating to them, but what I'd love to have you do first is maybe just tell us a little bit about, give us a little background, how you ended up doing what you're doing today.
Well, it's kind of funny because my goal when I went to college was to be a fitness trainer and, health coach, that kind of thing. And when I got out of college, there just wasn't jobs. And so I ended up working for a company. It was a telecommunications company. And so I did tech and operations and for 13 years. Then I got laid off. And so, of course, I kind of jumped around from thing to thing and became a fitness trainer and a health coach. Things didn't go my way because I didn't know how to market myself. And so I ended up with a job where I was the executive director of our local chamber of commerce. And I was injured on the job, and then I was terminated because I wasn't able to do my job anymore. So then I had to take all this stuff that I had done in the past and make a business with it. And I've not ever been the kind of person that enjoys being a speaker or going out and, standing up in front of people. I've always been a kind of behind the scenes.
You were
person.
Actually the executive director of a chamber of commerce and you don't like to speak? That's interesting.
It was way outside my box. Okay. Way outside my box.
Wow. Good for you, though, that you took on the challenge. That's great.
Yeah. I actually loved the job. It was a lot of work. I was the only employee. It was a very small town. And I only worked part-time for the chamber, then part-time for another nonprofit in the same office. But yeah, I ended up enjoying the connection part of it, right? I got to know a lot of people. I got to help them. It's like, hey, somebody come into the office and they go, oh, I need to have, this fixed, or I need this. So I'd refer them to, connect them with somebody. And I really loved that part of it. And when I left, I was like, okay, so I know how to connect people. I'm good at that. And I'm good at tech. And so I started out as a virtual assistant, helping people in the online industry, any kind of online business, doing all the tech stuff, because that's what I had done for 13 years when I was in telecom. So
now,
it just kind of worked from that.
Let me ask this question. Isn't that a pretty much male-dominated industry, the tech stuff?
It is. Yeah.
So you're a standout in that industry then.
A rebel, I guess you could say. Yeah, definitely. I liked it, it's like, I'm not going to, I think it's kind of funny because my great aunt who passed away in 2001 was really a pioneer. She never got married. She was She went to college when it wasn't fashionable. She was a WASP, Women's Air Service Patrol.
Mm.
She ferried bomber planes in the war. And
Wow.
so, I really kind of looked up to her as my idol, I'm going to do what she does, right?
In your
You're a
blood.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I liked doing all of that tech stuff, taking apart stuff and putting it back together and figuring out problems. And so it was like, I'm not going to do things that I can't stand to do just because it makes me money. So yeah, so I started doing tech and that's what I have been doing since 2013, different types of things,
Wow.
different platforms, many different platforms, building websites and email marketing campaigns, that kind of thing. And
That is
in 2020,
changing industry. So one of your skills has to be being able to pivot and change really quickly.
oh, on a dime,
Wow.
on a dime. Yeah.
Right.
The only thing that I could not get a grasp of because it moved way too quick for me was Facebook ads. And I finally just gave up because that changes weekly. And I'm like, I'm not relearning that all over again. So I left that to somebody else who's really passionate about it. But yeah, so in 2020, I had a stroke. And so I kind of had to back off from things. And so earlier this year, I decided that I wanted to kind of move out of only being a service provider and helping people who, like me, as a health coach, had trouble building their business. And I see so many times people they're really struggling with doing everything themselves. And they feel like they have to because other coaches are successful and, they have to be doing it themselves,
Mm.
right? You have to be superwoman. That's the badge of honor for us.
Wow.
So I'm starting this year, crafting a year-long program where I'll help online entrepreneurs, mostly health coaches, because that's my degree. I have a bachelor's in exercise physio. And, so I know the industry really well and help them get their business streamlined and optimized so that things will run, automated. Things will run smoothly and then they can do what they love, which is connecting with their clients and helping them either build their business or heal or whatever their specialty is.
My wife she was the wedding planner at Caesar's Palace when I met her 15 years ago. But 9 years ago, she came home one day and every couple has something that they like to do together, right? Bowling or cards or whatever. For us, it was going out to dinner. And so my grocery budget was like $800 a month. My dining out budget was like $2,500 a month. And so we both ballooned up. One day she came home and she said, I can't do this anymore. I need to change careers. And I'm like, change careers? Wow. And I was retired at the time and I was just waiting for her to retire. And she had no intention to retire. She's much younger than I am, but she said, I want to be a personal trainer. And we were both severely overweight at the time. And we were eating good. And within a year, she lost 65 pounds and did a bikini contest at 54 years old and got second place.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. So and then she got certified as a nutrition counselor and all kinds of things. And now she's a CrossFit coach.
I did CrossFit. I was a CrossFit coach too.
Wow.
I got my level 1. In fact, the week after I got my Olympic lifting certification from CrossFit.
Olympic lifting too? Holy cow.
Yeah. This was in 2011 was when I stepped in a depression at an event that I was setting up for the chamber and I broke my back. Bilateral pars fracture of L3. Yeah.
Wow.
Just stepped in it, like stepping off of a curb stiff-legged and just, yeah.
Wow.
That was the end of my CrossFit career. And
so,
yeah.
But here you are making a big splash again, and you've got some physical challenges, ironically, in an area that you have a degree in, health. And so here's what I'd love for you to do. Tell us the rest of what led you up to what you're doing today. But then I really want you to launch into telling us all about what you're doing today, because the little that we had a chance to talk about, I'm just fascinated. And here's what's really special. I know that you help people of all ages. But I also know that the people that I serve 55 plus active seniors that are growth minded. These are people that are really going to benefit by what you have to say. So please
Yeah.
tell us about that.
So I think what led me up to doing what I do was desperation in the beginning, right? It's what I like to do, and anything tech, anything computer software I really liked. And it was like, okay, I'm good at this. I need something because the chamber let me go because I couldn't sit, and I couldn't set up events. I just couldn't do a lot of stuff at the time. And so it was more out of desperation than anything else that I started it. And so I went through a certification program as an online business manager because I was also an operations manager at the telecom company for a number of years. And so I really liked that whole managing systems and processes
Mhm.
and, all of that kind of stuff. And so it just kind of morphed over the years as I went to different events. They have events all over the place. And so I want to say 2015 and 2016, I went to 2 events a month. It was either Phoenix, Las Vegas, San Francisco, San Jose, Los Angeles, or San Diego, because I could drive to those and not have to fly and that kind of thing. And started meeting people and listening to what their but what their struggles were and their obstacles. And so I just decided that, I wanted to do more, but I think, I think I really wanted to do this a long time ago when I first started this, but I didn't have enough confidence in myself and in my ability to market myself. And so I just got those skills from helping clients market their businesses. Right. And so, of course, like the cobbler's kids that don't have any shoes, I did it for everybody else and not for myself. And so this is the first year that I really decided that I'm focusing on, what I really want to do, which is helping people like me 20 years ago who really wanted to help people get fit and get healthy and live their best lives. And I want to help them do the stuff that I couldn't do, which was, the marketing, or didn't do well, I would say. The marketing, the getting the word out about them, all of the automations that you can do nowadays. And so that's kind of where I'm headed.
Interestingly enough, I think that if you decide that if you're somebody who decides, I'm passionate about health and fitness, and you decide to become a health coach or a personal trainer or anything in that field, you do that because you're passionate about helping people to become fit, not because because you love the idea of selling personal training. All right. And
Yeah.
so I think for most people, when they wake up, and a lot of times it's after they're certified to be a trainer or a fitness professional, they wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, I don't have any clients. My first job is to sell the heck out of myself." Right. And
Yep.
I didn't sign up for that. And so if there was somebody that I know that so many people have had this conversation with themselves in their private, lonely place of saying, "I wish there was somebody that I could just say, hey, can you do that for me? And I'll take care of all the clients." And that's what you do. You help them to be able to set up those systems. Am I right?
Yep. That's what, yeah, because yeah, that's the big thing, is that that's not their genius, right?
Mhm.
Their genius is connecting with their client and helping to dig down and find out what it is that's making them unhealthy, and, steer them in the right direction to becoming more healthy and fit, and, not have those kind of, debilitating diseases, and not having to build a web page or make a a marketing campaign, an email campaign, or a graphic, or a, lead magnet, or all those crazy things that, we think we need to have, and we do. But, if that's not your genius, then it's going to stop you dead in your tracks.
I can tell you I've seen it in my own household because my wife isn't an entrepreneur. She's the greatest employee on the planet, but she doesn't have one iota of entrepreneurialness in her body. So when I said to her, "This is great. You're going to be a personal trainer and now you have a business." And she's like, "Yeah, no, that's not really what my thing is. I just want to help people." So she went to work for a couple of different gyms initially, and they immediately promoted her to as like assistant general manager and general manager. And at one place, she was in charge of personal training because they were big enough where they just needed somebody in charge of personal training, and then she had personal trainers working for her. And
Oh, wow.
now she's the community manager for her CrossFit gym. And it's a nonprofit, so she literally just volunteers there. And we're fortunate that we can afford for her to spend 20 or 30 hours a week just contributing her time for free, but
Doing what you love,
doing what
basically.
yeah, that way she doesn't. But here's the crazy part. She's the community manager. So she's out literally knocking on doors going, hey, I got to tell you about something. And she's really good at it. But she doesn't, if you said, hey, you're a really good salesperson, she's like, I don't know how to sell anything. Right. So it's a confidence issue. And you mentioned that just a minute ago. I'd love you to drill down a little bit for us about how did you get the confidence to strike out on your own and do this all for yourself?
Honestly, in the beginning, it was sheer desperation. It wasn't a matter of having the confidence. It was doing it because if I didn't, then my daughter and I wouldn't have a roof over our head. That's all it was in the beginning. And so I think that over time, and I still feel not confident at times, but I'm working with a couple of coaches, and those coaches know my industry and know that they've known me for a long time, and they know that I'm good at what I do. And so, I have my cheerleading team,
Nice.
that
Yeah.
says, are you crazy? No, that they would love that, those kind of things. I come up with what I think might not be the greatest idea. And what do you think about this? Oh, yeah, that would be great. And another thing that I started doing was, I don't know if you've ever heard of coattail marketing.
Oh my gosh. No, I love that term though.
Yeah. So one of my coaches was telling me, okay, so what I was doing is I'm going on to a lot of other people's webinars or master classes or whatever. One, to learn about what they're doing and, so that I can use it in my business, but also to make connections, right? Because they always have breakout rooms, and you can, break out and you meet different people, or you ask questions and people see you and they hear what you're doing. And so I was telling my coach, yeah, I can't do that today, but I'll do it, in a couple of days because I'm attending a 2-day event. He's like, oh, you're doing coattail marketing. So I've been for
Wow.
the last 3 months kind of throwing out there, this is what I want to do. And oh, yeah. Or, oh, maybe you could tweak it this way. So I was getting a lot of suggestions from the people that are attending these different events. And I was doing probably at least one a week, whether it was a full day thing or a 2-hour thing, where I would, kind of put out there what I was doing. And so that's really built my confidence quite a bit, because I'm like, okay, people want this, people like this. And then I'm following a couple of other people that are much, much, much more successful, younger people that have been, really hard driving. I'm not a grinder. That's one of the things. I can't just grind. They say, oh, you got to grind day in and day out.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't.
not sure that's necessary. If you're the kind of person who just knows how to do a good job for somebody, there's a really good chance, especially if you ask, hey, who do you know that could benefit from what I do? And now you've got two. And then if you do that,
Yeah,
those two, now you got four, and
right.
you can't handle all of the work that you have. So I don't know that you need to be a grinder.
Thankfully, I have my daughter who's also a team member, and she does video recording, video editing, graphics, does all the same
Oh,
things that I
wow.
do, plus that, and is a software developer. So, I've got that skill set as a kind of, you know, under my arm as,
Under the
hey,
same roof, you got it all in house.
I do. Yeah. And so she's a big help as well. And I think that just by one, having a good coach has been really helpful for me. And two, just kind of putting it out there in different groups of people that I think are my market, my target market just is coaches, right? Specifically, I like to work with health coaches because that's what I've done. but just coaches in general. And so just kind of throwing it out there and getting positive feedback has really helped my confidence in that what I'm proposing to provide is going to be a worthwhile, valuable program for people.
So Janelle, I'm going to ask you to share without like training us on how to do your job, because I don't want you to do that. That'd be crazy. But without training us on how to do your job, what I'd love for you to do is actually drill down a little bit and tell us some of the specifics where you really can shine in helping people to be able to do that. But we're going to take a commercial break. It's going to take about 30 seconds, and then we're going to come right back. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show. I wanted to take a moment for a public service announcement. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Successful Seniors newsletter. It comes out every Wednesday morning. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes to read. It'll be in your inbox for you to read with your first cup of coffee. It'll be the highlight of your week. And I know you're going to love it so much, you're going to want to share it with all your friends. So go to successfulseniorsmedia.com to subscribe. There'll be a link in the show notes. Successfulseniorsmedia.com to subscribe. And now back to the show. So Janelle, tell us a little bit about the path. Like, how do you meet somebody? Then what do you do for them? And how does that impact their business? Kind of give us the path.
Okay. So when I'm talking to coaches, I'll generally ask, what are your biggest obstacles? And it's going to be different for different people. And the first thing that they usually have a problem with is a scheduling, the calendar app, something that they can get people to schedule appointments. And so I'll help them set that up. Onboarding a client where they can get a contract and get the contract signed. There are different software applications that you can use for that. I know that I've worked with a couple of people that had all that onboarding stuff that was just kind of saved all over the place. And so we help streamline that process. Another thing that we help people do is set up payment processors, because there have been times that I've seen people that don't have their payment processor connected to their page. And so they have
Venmo me the money.
Exactly. Yeah. Venmo me or Zelle me or,
Right.
PayPal me the money. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that. Let's connect up Stripe. No, I prefer Stripe. There are other options out there, but Stripe's the easiest. Those kinds of things, project management tools so that, you can make a list of your to-dos or have, I'm big on SOP, standard operating procedure, where you write up something and you go, okay, this is how you do it. And this is where you go to log into it. This is the username and password. And this is what you do. You click here, you go here, you click here, you do this, you click here, you do that. So that if by chance you end up in the hospital for 6 weeks because you had a stroke, you can hand that off to somebody else to do it. And all they do is go through and go down the line. So that's another thing that I help them with. I help them do a strategy for if they don't know. A lot of times people will say, well, I want to help everybody. I want everybody to be healthy and I want to help everybody. Well, that's shotgun marketing. You're not a Walmart. You don't have a Walmart budget. You cannot market to everybody. You need to market to a very specific niche. That's why I'm looking at health coaches. So for somebody else, it might be, if you're a health coach, you might be looking at former athletes who have had a serious injury and are still recovering from that injury.
Yep.
So now you've narrowed it down. Maybe they had a back injury. Okay, I had spinal fusion surgery. So I could be, one, I'm a former athlete, and two, I had a serious injury where I had to have surgery. So, you could be looking for that specific. So then you have to learn, how do you talk to that client's pain point? What's their pain point? Well, the pain point is, I have a hard time putting my shoes on. I have to use slip-ons now because I can't bend over and tie my shoes. Those kinds of things. And then you use that language to target them in your marketing and get them to go, oh, I'm scrolling along. I see something. Oh, I need to check that out. So those are some of the things that I help with. And then also just building that.
I want everybody to really take that in for a minute. So one of the huge secrets that I learned, which you just alluded to, is niche down, niche down, niche down. That because the riches are in the niches, as they say.
I was just going to say the same
Yeah.
thing.
So for me, when I was creating the successful seniors, I was like, well, there's a lot of seniors in the world. And I know I'm not the guy to be able to help the people in the nursing homes or in the assisted living. My heart goes out to them. I'm just not the guy. I want to help active seniors. And then I was like, well, what's a senior? What age? And I started saying 50, and people like 50 is not a senior. Okay. And then I realized senior communities are 55 plus. So I said, can we all agree on that? So that kind of became part of the niche, right? So active seniors, 55 plus, but that wasn't deep enough. I needed to say, I want them to have growth mindsets, right? Because if someone just really feels like they're going to just spend the rest of their golden years existing, then I can't help them, right? So we had to have 55 plus active, and then again, niche down again to be somebody with a growth mindset. They want to make their golden years their best years, right? So what you're saying is
Right.
so important. I want people to really understand. I've been encouraging my seniors to realize that in their seniorhood, they're successful no matter what. They might not have all the money in the world or whatever. They might not think they're successful, but if you made it to seniorhood, you're successful because you learn
Absolutely.
so much that other people that are not quite as far down the road that you want to go down can learn from. And so what I've been telling them is they should take that expertise and turn it into a consulting practice or turn it into a coaching business or maybe just do online
Mentoring.
classes. And so I'd love for you to be able to, would you work with a senior that says, hey, I'd love to make these self-paced video-based classes, but I don't know the technology and I don't know how to market
Absolutely.
it. You could work with somebody like that?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Oh,
fantastic.
absolutely. And yes,
So,
another thing too that
Right.
I always tell people is that you only need to be a 6th grade level to a kindergartner. You do not need to be a PhD to a kindergartner.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
And I'll give an example of that. So I'm in the ClickFunnels certification program, and I got certified in 2017, but they've revamped it several times. So they're on the 3rd iteration of
Wow.
it. So the plaque in back of me, wherever you can see it, that's from the 2nd iteration, which was in 2022. So now I'm an accountability facilitator for people who are on the bronze. So now they have it where there's bronze, silver, gold, diamond badges, right? So I'd completed my bronze badge, but I'm a facilitator for the people who are just starting their bronze badge level, right? So there's nine little steps in the
Ah,
bronze badge. So even though I haven't hit that diamond, I'm still at that bronze level, and I can guide these bronze people through the 9 steps that they need to go to complete the bronze badge. So that's what I was more alluding to as far as the kindergarten versus the 6th grader, right?
right.
Not necessarily talking on their level, but having that much more
Down the road.
training. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to be
And
real far down
experience.
the road, just a little farther, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
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 Perfect.
Yeah. Just enough.
Right.
Just enough. So anybody that's lived as long as we've lived has more experience than a 30-year-old. Just ask my daughter. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, mom.
The other thing that I also tell my seniors is that, you don't have to have a PhD in, chemical engineering or rocket science or anything like that. You might be passionate about organic gardening in an urban setting, right? And
Yeah,
so there's a lot of people that live in urban settings that would be like, hey, that's fascinating. I'd like to, right? So whatever you're passionate about and you probably know a lot about, and you probably can help a lot of people that don't know quite as much as you, right? They're a 6th grader, they're a kindergartner, you're a 6th grader. Just teach them what you know, right? So there's a lot of people
absolutely.
there's a lot of people in my orbit that you could help. So tell us this, how can people, and I'm going to put all this information in the show notes for everybody, so you don't have to take notes, but I just want Janelle to be able to kind of share with you how to get in touch with her. And she's got something kind of special she wants to offer you as well. Janelle?
Yeah, so you can get a hold of me on my website. It's gamarketingsolutions.com. There's a button to schedule a call right on the front page, and then on the resources page, there's some freebies, some little PDF documents where you could download them. You have to enter your email and your name, of course, and you could get those. There's several there. The one that I like to give out the most is the one that's what tech do I really need? That just kind of gives you an idea of, the minimal. If you're just getting started, here's the minimum that you need. There's some free resources that you can use until you're ready to grow, and then you start paying for that level. And so those are some of the things that you can do.
And here's why I think that's great because, I believe competence breeds confidence, right? Like, I don't care if you're motivated by inspiration or desperation, like you had said, but you need to put in some perspiration too in order to be
Yeah.
able to make it work. But if you have a tool like this where you go, I don't know where to start, and now you've got this PDF that says, here's all the stuff that you need to get started, it increases your confidence, therefore increasing your confidence, and it gets you to break that human inertia. And now you have momentum on your side. So I think this is a great tool that everybody should really take advantage of. And if you haven't taken if you're a senior watching this and you haven't taken my advice to take your knowledge and help some other people, please use this as an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to get this free document from Janelle, and I'm going to step off and have a conversation with her, and it'll change your life. I promise. Janelle,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like we really just scratched the surface today. So what I'd really love to do is invite you back to give us a little bit more information. It won't be your inaugural podcast, but I know it's going to be great. Would you come back? I invited you.
Absolutely, I would. This has been fun.
Awesome. All right. Listen, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. The show notes is going to have all the information from Janelle, so you'll be able to get in touch with her. And we love you all. Bye for now.